Hi everyone, it's Victoria. Welcome to the Soul Nurturer channel. I hope you have a little bit of time to take a seat with me or listen with your focus on you as you listen to what I have to share that is meant for you, for all of us, to nurture our souls, to connect more deeply to our inner knowing, our own wisdom, and to take compassionate action on behalf of ourselves. So, this month's theme was all about self-care. And before I jump into today's goodies, what I have for you today, I'm going to invite you to join me. I always find it much more fluid when I start these videos with a little drop in and connecting to myself and letting the message that I have on my heart kind of flow a little bit more easier. All right, so if you can, close your eyes and join me for just a moment as we drop within. Let the sound of the meditation bowl call you inward, letting everything else just kind of fall away. Just calling your focus, your intention inward. Calling in your compassion, all the energy you've got going out to others and your daily tasks, your work, your children, even you mamas. Just take a few moments for yourself right now, and I invite you to do this throughout the day. I know you mamas are very, very much needing to be externally focused. You have to be. I think once you're a mom, a lot of your attention is outward, right? Even when they're grown. That beautiful quote that having a child is like having your heart walking outside of your body, right? So I get that. But you can take a couple minutes here and there. And if there's no space in your house, there's kids everywhere and you're just busy with life, you can go take a little retreat in the bathroom. Just close the door for a moment. Put your hand on your heart. Drop in. Remind yourself that you are there for you, that you're connected to you as well, as so much of your energy is going out to your kids in your life. For the rest of us who don't have children or your children are grown, remember there's an inner child inside of you. So let's connect there as we breathe in with this intention of deepening our self-care practice. And what I didn't say when I first started these videos, is where I feel I needed to start, was our soul care practice. I'm going to talk about that in just a moment, so just breathe in. Breathe in what you need. And exhale what you don't. Let it go. Our self-care, our soul care, our life care all begins with, what do we need? So be mindful of that right now. What do I need in this moment? And again, imagine breathing in the energy connected there. And then let go of everything unlike that. And go ahead and open your eyes and come back with me. I have a need to possibly sneeze, so which means maybe I have a need for some blessings. So maybe I don't need to sneeze, just send me some blessings. I love that, when someone sneezes, bless you. Well, we need blessings without having to sneeze, so send them my way. I'm always open to a lovely blessing. Okay, so I have to share that the theme of this month has been self-care, which I've loved. I felt kind of off. I felt like it's not flowing. What's going on? Why am I not able to find my groove with this conversation? And here's what arrived for me this morning in my I was having one of my very sacred retreats this morning in my bathtub. Honestly, when I take a bath, it is sacred time. I light my candles. I put in some, some beautiful oils, and it's very sacred time. And I usually do a bath in the evening because it's a beautiful way for me to let go of the day. I will light candles, and one of my rituals, which we're going to talk about in just a moment, I'm getting ahead of myself, but since we're here, I'll share this. One of my rituals when I take a bath is I breathe into my body and especially into my heart, and I notice what I'm carrying, what I'm holding, the stories I've heard through the day. That's my work. It's sacred work. I get to listen to what people are experiencing and growing through in their lives. I have an empathic heart, so it goes way out to the world, what's happening in the world. I don't spend a lot of time with news, but you empaths out there know we don't have to watch a lot of news to already get what the feeling is out there, right? So I just noticed that, and I've got candles lit, and I do two things. When I'm complete with the bath, when I pull the plug, I say I'm letting all this just go. That's the first clear. And when you're a deeply sensitive, empathic person, you need to do more than one clearing, right? Sometimes, and definitely more than one grounding in the morning or in the day, throughout the day. But then I go to my candles and I say a prayer. I'll say something like, all that is on my heart and all that is in the world where people are in need and where healing needs to happen. For all, makes me cry because this is where my heart deeply goes. For all the innocents, for the elders, for the children, for the animals, for those who are in great need, God be with them. And then I blow the candle out, and the ritual is a way of letting my mind, body, soul know I'm letting this go. I'm surrendering it all to God. Okay? What's that sweet saying? Give it to God. God's going to be up all night anyway. So that's usually my bath time ritual in the evening. But this morning I took a bath because my body was a little achy, so I took a bath. And in my bath time, which is always sacred time, I was thinking about what should I share on the video today. And this is what I heard. And how did it go? You are the sacred container for your soul. You are the sacred container for your soul. Wow. It was so meaningful for me, and immediately I knew where I was off with these conversations here about self-care. You hear me often say, create a sacred container, holding sacred space. But I hadn't put that together in terms of holding sacred space for ourselves, and that we are the sacred container for our souls. And then I realized I didn't start there when I started this monthly theme. Like, it needed to be my first conversation. We start with our souls, we start within, and then we move out from there. And what was happening was that I was trying to think, what does everybody else want to hear about self-care? And then I was getting into this world that I don't really even know, like the traditional self-care stuff, like trying to make sure I was saying the right thing. And you know what that means? Anytime you do that, trying to do the right thing, say the right thing, and looking at out in the world, what's everybody else doing? You have disconnected from the greatest source of wisdom, which is through your soul, through the divine. And that's what I was doing. So calling myself out, letting myself be an example for where you might be doing that. We're so conditioned. I write a lot about this in my unfolding book about we are so conditioned to get our needs met on the external that at some point we need to flip that switch and go back to connecting inward, to connect to God, to connect to soul, and find our own wisdom to guide us forward. Because anything short of that, we can be just like bobbing around like, oh, so-and-so said I should be doing this. And oh, this person said this about this and that. That can be really crazy making. So anyway, remember that you are the sacred container of your soul and have access there when you drop in to your own soul knowing, to your own wisdom. And since we're all so unique, me telling you some ideas here on these videos, take only what resonates with you, okay? What does resonance mean? You feel it in your body. There's a yes there. I think I did a video, it might be in one of my courses, on finding your authentic yes. But I think you understand what I'm saying. If I asked you, what's your favorite food? I'm going way off here, but I'll come back in just a moment. If I asked you what's your absolute favorite food and you told me about it, and then if you connect that to what your body feels like when you talk about that food, there's your yes. And then if I say, well, what's your worst food that you would never, ever eat? And you tell me about that, you're going to feel that in your body too. There's your no, okay? So here I was in my sacred bath time and called back to the very foundation of all my life, my self-care, and my teaching, and what I share with my clients, which is we are spiritual beings having a human experience. Therefore, we need the balance, right? So I'm using this very human term, self-care, and no wonder I'm not connecting, because that's not where I live the majority of the time. I'm all about soul. Soul is, it's the essence of our being, and it's the uniqueness of our expression. So our self-care, our human part of how we do life, is going to look differently for each person. And that is why I couldn't find my flow. I don't know what's perfect for you. I just can talk about soul and essence, and then finding the balance in the human experience. And that looks like updating the subconscious mind, which helps you have the flow from the soul knowing to the human doing. Okay. Does that make sense? Anyway, that's where I got off track. I need this to be about soul care and, of course, self-care. But in my mind, self-care springs out of soul care. So what is soul care, and what do we do there? Now, I'll tell you, one of my favorite spiritual teachers, which got me on this track really in some ways, is Thomas More, who wrote the classic book all about, soul care, right? And he is a phenomenal teacher. The book is called Care of the Soul. It's not Soul Care, Care of the Soul. And he's written so many books. He's prolific. To me, he is a living mystic. He really is. And side note, I had this awesome opportunity, really, that follow your intuitions and follow those soul calls, because I was thinking about 2 years ago, I really wanted a mentor. Who could mentor me? And I thought about Thomas More, and even though he was way out of my reach, I sent him an email. And he wrote me back that very day. It is one of my most precious, sacred moments. I felt so honored that this living mystic wrote back to me such a gracious, kind letter. I was asking for one-on-one mentoring, but of course he's not doing that anymore. But he is offering these classes, and I did do them for 1 year. And it wasn't quite a fit for me, for what I was looking for. I wanted more connection, obviously, with him, although he offers a lot of himself through the videos and the course curriculum. But that opening led me to my spiritual direction program, which is more of a fit for me. But I just wanted to give a gratitude to this incredible man who has shared so much with all of us about this deeper soul work, this caring for the soul. Okay, so I got back on track this morning with that awareness where I was imbalanced with. I'm not a lead with self-care, I'm a lead with soul care. So what does this look like? For me, another thing that came to me in this awareness was where my self-care can be off, because I'm not starting in a sacred way with myself. Now, years ago, I used to say, I wish that I could be more the person that I am when I'm in session with my clients. It's so sacred. It's so fluid. It's so something comes alive in me that is just, wow, I want to be that person more often. There's a deeper connection to the divine. There's a deeper connection to my own experiences, and definitely a deeper connection to my soul and to my client. Well, what was different? What is different? It's still, when I do a session, even though now it's on Zoom or a phone call, I have a practice of having a ritual. A ritual is a intentional setup. For me, this is what a ritual is anyway. Remember, I am not the expert of you, and I'm not the keeper of all wisdom. This is what works for me. This is my understanding of things. We all have different takes on things. There's countless information out there about rituals. Find what resonates with you. For me, though, a sacred ritual is taking the intention you have in your heart and creating something sacred in the external. So for me, preparing my office space for a client would be closing the curtains, lighting candles, and I would bring my meditation bowl. I still do this, not in my office, but in my home office, which is, in my home office. Very, very different setup though. And drop in. And then kind of just set that I'm open. I'm open and receptive to whatever guidance I have in guiding others. So I'm inviting in sacred connection. That's a ritual. I'm inviting in the holy. I'm inviting in divine flow. Okay? But I wasn't doing that in my own life. In fact, like many of you, possibly, it would be time to get up, start moving. Fortunately, I have some sacred rituals before I get out of bed. One is to catch my dreams, to review them, and if I can, write them down, but mostly I just review them in a way where now I know how to kind of bookmark them in my brain so that when I'm ready to journal them, they flow. And then resetting those dreams, and then praying. All before I get up, okay? So I still can do better with the human self-care stuff, because oftentimes that's really sacred, it's beautiful, I set the tone for the day. But oftentimes, before I go do any movement, or I like to go outside for a little sit or meditation, I'll get on my emails. So I'm still trying to find the balance with soul care and self-care. So soul care is really connecting more deeply. Self-care is preparing ourselves to navigate our lives. So the balance with soul care and self-care allows us to have life care. Okay? This all came to me this morning and I'm so excited. I'm just kind of fleshing it out with you right now. So it's really important to have these rituals. So you can do soul care rituals and then self-care rituals. Okay? Some of you are really good at this. I hear from some of my clients, you guys have this regular routines. Routines is another way of saying ritual. So maybe ritual is more for the sacred and the soul, and routine is self-care. But you can, interchange the word. So what are your soul care rituals and what are your self-care? And remember last week, I invited you to think about or imagine what's not working, and imagine your best friend walking through your life with you, connecting with you in the mirror. And I invited you to do a practice of writing all the things you identified that are not quite working, and then imagining what your best friend would advise you. Well, why best friend? I think that our loved ones, our best friends, those who I think about best friends and our partners, when we fall in love or when we have sister soul connection, we have seen each other's essence. We see each other through God's eyes, right? Like this sacred view of potential and sacred view of essence. And our best friends often hold that space for us when we forget, right? The goal is to be able to hold that space for ourselves when we forget, to remember who we are, where we came from, who created us, and that this life is such a gift. And the potential and purpose in our souls is the gift we bring forward when we have balance of soul care and self-care. We create, we grow. I've been saying this phrase that came to me: a nurtured soul grows a beautiful life, right? So this is where we need to get into balance. So I'm just looking at my notes real quick. I just am curious how many of you do the thing I was talking about, though. Maybe you get out of bed and you just hit the ground running, and you have an intention to do a soul care practice, a soul ritual, or self-care something. And then you look at your emails, or you look at your phone, or you get a call, and suddenly, poof, you're out. Your energy literally leaves you and is somewhere else, right? One practice I will suggest that is a balancing practice for both soul care and self-care is to become aware of where's your energy throughout any given moment of your day, especially if you're feeling stressed. We often feel like, oh, stress is terrible and anxiety is terrible and all this stuff we notice in our bodies, pain, whatever. It's all information to call yourself back to you. And it's like it gets louder and louder when we don't listen, right? So think of stress as just a way of your body, mind system letting you know that you've disconnected, or you're not even present. You're in the past, or you're way in the future, and you're missing this very precious moment where we are given, thank you, Eckhart Tolle, the power of now, the power of choice, right? So I would just invite you to think about that with gentle, compassionate awareness. Where am I right now anyway? Am I way out there thinking about what so-and-so's doing or didn't do, or all my energy's out in my work? Where's you need some energy for you, right? I was going to talk about the self-care workshop I used to teach in a way that we can measure our energy, but I think I'll save it for next time because I want to stay with the sacred, and I want to stay with this idea of soul care and then growing our self-care from there. So the idea here is this. Just hold this thought in your mind today. Maybe journal about it. But knowing that you are a sacred container. Our bodies are where our soul lives, right? The essence of our being. Our bodies are the vehicle through which our soul is able to express and deliver our purpose and our gifting. They need to work together. I have had this lopsided my entire life. I didn't ever give much attention to the physical. I took it for granted when I was younger because I was very athletic and had a lot of energy and could easily do anything. And then I had some healthcare stuff. And then I got a little older. And those two things made me find a way to balance more. And I'm still working it out. I'm still needing to remember to nourish my physical. Nourish to flourish. I love that saying, nourish to flourish. I'm really good with food and intake, and that's pretty dialed in. I've changed my diet quite a bit. I listen to my body, and this is really, really key. I listen to my body, what it doesn't like to eat when it gives me pretty clear feedback. And still there are times I argue with my body. Like, no, cheese is fine. Cheese is good. My body says no. And when I deny what my body is telling me, I will have repercussions, okay? So the balance with soul care and self-care, our body is the bridge for that. Our body has lived through everything we've lived through. It holds all of our memories. It holds the wisdom for what works best for our unique bodies. This is why there's no one diet for everyone. There is a way of eating and being that works for your body. The more you listen, the more you honor, the more the balance comes. So I invite you today to create a ritual with your soul care or your spiritual care. But holding this question, knowing that you are a sacred container, what can you do differently? What will you do differently? There's a wonderful book years ago, old book, called If the Buddha Came to Dinner. And I think there's one If Jesus Came to Dinner as well. But the idea is, if this holy person, this divine being, were coming to your home and you're going to make dinner, would you just throw something in the microwave? Probably not. You would be really mindful of what you would be serving. Same concept. When we connect to our souls and we recognize the divine connection and the divine gift of a life that we have, we treat ourselves, our bodies, our thoughts, our rituals, our self-care in a more sacred way. Okay? All right. So this is my Get Real acronym for this offering today. So R is rituals, creating rituals that really support you, support your soul or your spiritual practice, and support your body and support your life. Okay? E is empower. Rituals empower us. They empower and expand our intention. So empower. Allow is once you set a ritual, or you create a ritual and you allow the space for that, then you allow the wisdom that comes through your body or through your spiritual guidance, you allow it. And then L, I got to tell you, with this real acronym for this month, I do this with words all the time, but L is kind of hard. So, but this one works, and that is love. Love. So rituals connect us back inward and to that unconditional love. Think about some of the qualities, the essence of our spirit, our being. Love, unconditional love, acceptance, so we can flow more love for ourselves and others. And this, when we are holding love for ourselves, we choose better care. Remember, what we love, we care about. The more self-love we have, the better our self-care. Okay? That's kind of how that works. So, just going to scan down here and then we're going to wrap up. So I had said that this week we were going to talk about those practical self-care items, but I had to go back to the foundation of my work, which is starting with soul, starting with that deeper connection and then flowing from there. Okay. So that's it for this video. I'm going to probably do the next video for next week soon because I'm in a conference starting this Thursday and I'm going to be just super busy there. It's a deep immersion. So I'm going to do the next one right after this, but I'm not going to post it until next Monday. But that's it. My wish for you is that you receive something through this. Something I said resonated, something that you heard, which is really interesting. This happens to me all the time with my clients. I'll share something, a concept, an idea, and then they'll come back and say, you know that thing you said? And they'll say something, and I'll say, well, it's not quite how I said it, but that's what they heard because that is what they needed. So I hope you received something that met a need in you, that calls you back to your desire to nurture your soul, to really balance your soul care, self-care, and your life care in a way that's more fluid, flowing from you, flowing from your own soul wisdom and your own love and acceptance of who you are and whose you are. And that's another way to get aligned with a good practice. When you recognize your divine connection and the gift of your life, truly, what a gift. More honoring, more self-respect, more willingness to take care of this precious life and this precious being that you are and the precious soul that lives within. So I think that's it. Just know that you are worthy of creating a life aligned with your soul, your potential, your purpose, And the more you connect, and remember my saying now, a nurtured soul grows a beautiful life. Yes, let's all grow our potential, our purpose, and a beautiful life. And imagine us all growing these beautiful lives that contribute to a beautiful world that we all share. Okay, thank you for being with me, sharing some of your sacred time. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Click on the bell if you want to be notified when I upload a new video. Like and comment if you can, and if you're called, if you're willing, but I really want to invite you to stretch there. Even if you don't want to write something, what I love in comments is when people say, this is what I got, I received this, thank you for this, or this made me think of that. Your takeaways from the video. But if you don't feel called to that, private message me, or just put a couple of, hearts in the comments letting me know you got something that nurtured your soul today, nourished you in a way that you can now be out there in the world flourishing with you, with your unique and beautiful way. Okay? All right. Thank you so much. Now go and nurture your soul and grow that beautiful potential and purpose that is yours to contribute to this collective world that we share. Much love. Take good care. Until next time.